that wanted the recording. You guys will notice I have this incredible contraption here that looks like a dog cage, but it's actually just a large pack and play for my child, but I promise it was actually marketed for babies. So yes, that's good times back there, but she is hopefully going to cooperate. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you guys for hopping on, especially on a Saturday morning. This is super, super exciting. I know that some of us on the call are pretty dang new. Actually, really everyone I'm seeing is new and hasn't been on the team for all that long. And so what's so cool about this, you guys, and what I just think, blows my mind is this team has increased in size so much over the course. I'm like blue. I'm like a Smurf today. It's fine. Has increased in size so much over the course of the last year and a half. But what's so cool is I think we've really stuck to our core of what we believe in and kind of what we're trying to achieve here. And I think it's so cool to see as you guys come in to this, you guys get to help lead this team. You get to help us figure out our goals every year. And together we get to kind of reshape, every year we get to refine what we're trying to do here, which I think is really exciting. So I'm going to talk for just a little bit at the beginning, and then Kinsley and I are going to, make sure that we open it up for questions and stuff too at the end. So I wanted to talk to you guys for just a second about our goal as a team this year, because as Emeralds, or even if you're not Emeralds yet, but you're working towards it or you're very close, you guys are a part of the leadership of this team. And it might seem like, and I remember when I first started coaching, that you might feel like, oh, I'm not really a leader yet because, it's just maybe my spouse or my boyfriend and a friend or my mom and my dad or something like that, right? But whether or not, and whoever really that you have helped so far or that you're thinking about helping, you constitute as a leader. Just the pure fact that you have shown up and decided to do this for yourself makes you a leader. And then the fact that you're influencing people around you and that you're trying to help other people, I think just the fact that you're attempting makes you a leader, right? There was a time not that long ago where I hadn't signed up anyone at all. And I went months as a coach where I didn't sign up anyone. And it's crazy to think, right? But I was the same person then than I am now. So there's nothing different except that I've been very consistent over the course of the last 2.5 years that following the Coach Vitals, no matter if people join me or not. I kind of honestly didn't care. I was just like, I'm doing this because it makes me a better human being, right? So if you don't know what the Vitals are, I want to make sure that you guys understand really what our training, like base training, where it starts is with that welcome email. So I'm not going to go into like details on like what is Emerald or what are Vitals, because that stuff is all in our training. So if you go to our welcome email, which that's actually posted in the Brave Builders page as well. But if you didn't get it from your coach, like don't stress it. Just message your coach or me or Kinsley and let us know, and we can send you the links. But there's basically a half an hour-ish of information that gets you kind of the basics of how to start this as a business. But what's really cool is Emerald is like putting the key in the ignition to your car. So we think about that. If you think of your business as a car, it's like putting your key in the ignition. But then Diamond is like pressing on the gas. It's like actually starting and moving your vehicle and your business in the right direction, right? And when you go Diamond, so Diamond is one of the qualifications of like an elite team is that you have enough people on your team that have built their business to a diamond or star diamond status. And what's really cool about our team, so we Made for Brave as an elite team this year, so which is really crazy and so amazing. And it's totally a team effort, right? Like it's something that nobody can do on their own. We've got a premier team within our elite team, which is Kinsley's team, which is so cool as well. But basically, if you think of all of us as like a little pod in the team, right? We're all a part of bigger teams, but then we also have our own little teams, right? That we're starting as we go. So what's really cool about Elite is that I wanted to talk to you guys, no matter what your goal is this year for you. So if your goal is more geared toward yourself and, you know, making sure you're on the right track with your goals, like personally, I think that is so awesome. And that still contributes to our goal, which is so crazy. But like, it's literally how many times or how many lives we touch as a team. So even if it's just your life that we're touching and you're showing up to our sip and sweat Saturdays and you're doing our, you know, fit tribes and you're doing your workouts and you're feeling good and drinking your shake like that, I can't even tell you guys, that's the whole reason so many of us are here, is just because we want you to be a healthier version of yourself. Like, that's literally it. So that's awesome. But if you have the goal as well to help other people around you, and whether that's 2 people, which is very simple terms, right? 2 people is going to get you to Emerald, or it's 12 people, which 12 people is going to get you to Diamond. And I tell people all the time, Diamond is literally just going Emerald multiple times, right? If you've gone Emerald, you know how to go Diamond. It's just inviting 2 more people and signing up 2 more people, 2 more people, 2 more people till you get to 12, right? And you do have to get an Emerald on each side, but what's so cool, again, about the way that we often encourage people to build this business, if you have a spouse account or a parent's account, you can help your parent or spouse sign 2 people up under them, right? So it's a really easy way to build to Diamond. But so if Emerald is like putting the key in the ignition and Diamond is like pressing on the gas, I want to just get you guys dreaming a little bit bigger and just thinking about kind of long term, right? And it's something I wish personally that I dreamed bigger sooner. I really, really do, you guys, because I looked at what potential I thought I had and I didn't think I had much. You okay? Sneezing. I didn't think I had much, and I really think I doubted, it's not even just me, but I doubted the community that we have here. We have an incredible community, and I honestly don't believe we're just going elite this year. I think we're going 15 star. I think we're going all the way up. So when you look at kind of what's ahead of you after Diamond, can you guys hear her? Or is that just me? Okay. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Hi. Yeah. So if you look at what's ahead, like after Diamond, 2-star is where you really start to see substantial like income increase, right? And that's the point where, you know, I tell people though, so much of this and getting to where you want to be is going to be about making sure that you're in it for the right reason, right? If you're in it just for income, you probably won't make it that far because it takes a while to build a residual income. But what's so cool is when you get to a place like Elite, it's often where you can start looking at this as like a full-time opportunity. So if that's your goal, I'm going to get the baby. If full-time is your goal and you want to say hi? Say hi, you got boogers, kid? If you guys, this is mom life too. That's what's so cool about this job though. I get to do this all day. But what's so cool is if you are looking to do this as something full-time, just put Elite in your sights. And honestly, again, so this is our team has been around for 2.5 years. Our first full year in the business, we went Premier, which is 2-star. And then this year, 2018, oh my gosh, last year, it's 2019. Last year, 2019, we went Elite. But you guys, I truly think we could have done Elite. Like literally, if I had thought about it in my first 6 months, I think we could have done it as a team because our community is so strong and did get strong really, really fast. But I didn't even know what Elite was until I had been a coach for a year. So I want you guys to just just think about it, because our goal this year is not just for Made for Brave to go elite again, or Kinsley's Made for Brave team to go elite again, or it's for as many of us to go elite as possible, because we want to pay this forward and the way that it's changed our families and changed our lives literally forever, right? So I just wanted to encourage you guys, don't get caught up in how far you feel like you have to go. So often we look at, like, in our physical fitness journeys or anything like that, you look at the gap, right? And you look at, like, this is how I look now, this is how I want to look. Or we look at our personal development and we're like, I want to be like calm and patient, not scream at people. But what I'm doing now is like screaming at my family every time, you know, something happens or whatever. Or we look at our business and we're like, I've never signed up a person and I want to be a 5-star that's like 1 million people. And it's not 1 million, but whatever. And like, how am I going to get there? But don't look at the gap, you guys. Don't look at the gap. Just look at what you can do to get there, right? So I think right now, I think that covered most of it, right, Kins? Of what the main stuff. Yeah, so I think we were just going to kind of go around and ask a few questions. Kins, I don't know if you want to take some questions so I can grab the baby something to do, because she's being crazy.
Anyone have, like, feel free to unmute yourself if you're muted right now, but does anyone have any specific questions that they can think of after just hearing what Elisa said too? Anyone? Jessica? Actually, I can't unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I have some questions, but they're like more about my personal stuff because of how fast it all happened. So do you want me to ask now or do you want me to wait? Like,
why don't you ask, and if I think it's applicable to everyone else, like, I can answer it, and if not, I'll just message you after.
Okay, so because I was signing up a lot of coaches, like, I had watched the emails and I know, or the videos about your legs and like how that stuff works, but I didn't really understand it. Mm-hmm. And I know that you said, and you checked behind me, and I had like a lot of people on the right side. I went in and I looked at like the genealogy or something, whatever that is. And I'm not understanding how that works or how to like set that up to best help myself.
Okay. Well, one tip that I have for actually everyone on here as well is, because Emerald is your first goal, and like, if you're not already Emerald, like, you will be getting there soon, and then your next goal is Diamond, make sure that you go into Brave Builders and check out the Diamonds call that Elisa reported, because that does have a lot of the like logistics. But as far as like your genealogy and like what it means to be Diamond, that just means that you have 4 coaches on each of your legs. You have a right leg and a left leg, and that you have an Emerald on either side as well. So for you, Jessica, when you want to make sure that you don't have like 8 on one side, right, and 0 on the other side, you want to have 4 and 4. So just from now on, make sure that you're putting them on the other side. And that can be done by going into sponsorship drill down. And then, so like your coach office, monitor my business, sponsorship drill down, and then preferred placement. And that's where you can decide, you can click right or left and make sure they're going on the right side. But then
don't look at, like, I don't know if you said genealogy. So are you looking at the category that says genealogy? The like big complicated like pyramid. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like on my
don't look at that.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I was gonna say, because I was like, she said genealogy, so I feel like, so I never look at genealogy. I always look at sponsorship drill down, because that's gonna be your clear shot of like, this is my left leg, this is my right leg, because genealogy will show everybody that like, because we all share a leg of the business, which is really, really cool, right? Because you guys get volume. Like when I sign up a coach, if it's on the same leg that I share with Kinsley, that Kinsley shares with you, right? You guys get volume from that too, which is so cool. That's why this is like a team effort, right? Like we all benefit when the team's doing well. But basically, if you look at genealogy, it's going to show you like all these random people that you're like, I don't know who these people are. And it's all coaches that like other people on the team have added. So it's really confusing to look at it that way, because then it doesn't make sense.
Avoid genealogy for sure. Just stick to sponsorship drill down.
Okay, got it.
That'll help. Okay, who else has a question? I feel like such a teacher.
I was just gonna say, you're such a teacher.
I know you guys got them.
Oh my goodness. Just kidding. Yeah, does anybody else have a question? Or how about, what if we went around and we can go kind of like popcorn style, but can we talk about like what stage you guys are at and where you want to go this year?
Yeah, like what your goals are.
Yeah. I'm going to totally feed the baby too. So I'm going to like do this. Okay.
So if it's popcorn style, that means you can volunteer, or I'll just pick.
I'll go. I don't mind. I was struggling. Like, I signed back in September with Kinsley, and I was inviting people, and I was like struggling, kind of finding my rhythm. And I truthfully, to be honest, and I'm not sure this with her, but I got like frustrated. I was like, it looks so easy, but it's not, and it's really hard. And I changed a few things, and I feel like I finally have gotten into like the start of finding my rhythm. And over the past 2 weeks, I've signed up like 9 people, and I was able to enroll my mom as a coach because she wanted to do the new Transform 20 program, which was awesome. And we talked about like, if I sign her up as a coach, me managing her account, and she was totally fine with that. And so I was able to sign up 2 girls underneath her so that she was enrolled underneath me. So that worked out great. And then I guess one of the girls I first enrolled as a customer, she got excited seeing like some of the new stuff, and she had really great results from her first challenge. And so she wanted to sign up as a coach. And I hated having to see her like pay the enrollment fee whenever I had told her like, you don't have to pay it if you sign up as a coach now. But you know, and I posted in the Made for Brave page, I think, about like literally just changing the wording like a tiny bit. Instead of asking, do you want to enroll as a coach or a customer? Here's the benefits. Because Kinsley suggested like just saying, I really think that we should sign you up as a coach. And all I have started saying was, I highly suggest we sign you up as a coach. And like, it's amazing that little change, what it's done. So
that's so awesome. One thing for your friend too, she can get, if she bought a challenge pack first as a customer, she can actually get that $39 coach enrollment fee refunded.
Okay.
So even if she paid it, let her get the refund. There's that. Yeah, and it's totally fine. It's really easy to like miss that first, but anytime somebody's purchased a challenge pack, even as a customer, which it's still a pain, I think, because it's an extra step, right? They have to take money out of their account, and then they have to fill out a form, and then they get the money back. So I still totally agree that you should highly recommend people sign up as a coach, and that's what I do too. I tell people about both options, but I very hardcore lean. It's the same way I am with the shakes. I'm always like, you can get cafe latte or vanilla or chocolate, but you want chocolate. Like I kind of, because I just know like 99% of people like chocolate best out of our shakes. So, but yeah, Kinsley can probably tag you, but we have multiple. I think the main spot is in the Brave Builders page that has the link to the form, but it's just like a quick form, which is good. But nice job, by the way, on that. I think so often it is a mindset shift, and it's finding your groove. Like it takes months, you know, at first to sometimes to figure it out. Sometimes we fall into the groove right away, but it just kind of depends. So it's awesome that you stuck with it, and it's been really cool to see you feeling it.
It's exciting. It's like addicting that you want to keep. I'm like, no, I want to tell everybody about it. So.
Yeah.
I was just going to say too, like, that's one thing that I've really noticed in like the way that Jessica is showing up on Instagram and stuff too. Like, I feel like there's a very clear shift in your conviction when you finally were like, I believe in this so hard, and like, I want to help more people. So you started like talking to your Instagram story more, and you started posting about the actual program more. And like, I could tell that you were talking to more people because you were getting more excited and like, you know, sending me more conversations and things like that. So I feel like conviction has been, you know, so apparent, and like, it's been really cool to see you show up in that way. All right. Elisa's all muted.
That was me giving high fives. I was like, yay, high fives, team.
Let's see, who wants to share, you know, how they're feeling and where they're now.
Okay, so since I've signed up, I've gone Emerald, but like I've signed up 5 people, and then 3 of them, like I know that you said continue to show up for yourself, which I have, and 3 of them just, I don't know, 3 of them just kind of gave up on themselves, I guess. And I know that happens, but it's my boyfriend. He's awesome. He supports me. And then a girl who just signed up, she played softball with me in college, and she's super awesome. And I know she's going to stick because she's really excited. And what would you say, like, for those three people? I know it's like a lesson to learn from, but how could I make sure that the next few people that do sign up, because I was really like, I know we can't make them, show up for themselves, but what would you suggest? I showed them how I got on a call with them and I walked them through how to use the apps and all of that good stuff, and it's just, I guess they didn't follow through with it. But what are some tips that you would suggest for me to, help the next few people?
Yeah. I would say first and foremost that that has nothing to do with you as a coach at all. It's just what those people chose, right? And we, like I've talked to you about before, and as we all know, but it's hard to not take it personal when someone quits on themselves and you're their coach, right? We've all probably had someone quit on us before, and it's hard to not take it personally. However, I think it's so important that we take that pressure off of ourselves, because we are their coach. We are showing up for them, but we cannot choose for someone if they're ready to invest in themselves and their health, and if they're ready to stick through it. So I would first and foremost, you have to take that pressure off yourself and just realize that you can only can control what you can control, which is yourself and the way that you're showing up for them, which it sounds like you're showing up for them, So my thoughts too are that those people are probably going to come back months from now and be like, okay, now I'm ready. And this time, since they already kind of quit on themselves, will be more committed this time around, One thing to think about too is, where was my thoughts? I hate when that happens. It's right there and then it just goes. But I don't know, first off, yeah, take the pressure off yourself. And what I was going to say is that it's also a numbers thing, in the sense that the more people that you're signing up, the more people are likely to, that sounds really bad though, but that's not really what I mean. I just mean that it's bound to happen, because not everyone is ready when they initially sign up. And again, I don't think that has anything to do with us as coaches. Elisa, do you want to add something? Because my thoughts are
Yeah, I was just thinking too, that it's I try to think about it as a sports coach. I don't know, did you play sports in school? Or
yeah, I played softball in college.
Okay, yeah. So so in school, if you didn't show up to practice, and you kept just not showing up to practice, the way that some people just don't show up to their workouts, right? Your coach, especially at the college level, I know, would not be coming to your dorm room day after day after day and being look, the field is right outside your dorm room. You need to come down and practice. You have to do this for you, right? At some point, they would just and it would actually be way harsher, because they would be look, you're out, you're done, you're not on the team, you lost your scholarship, you're done. After 2 days or 3 days. And they probably wouldn't, my coach wouldn't have even reminded me. They would have been look, you didn't show up, you're done. So what I think is cool about coaching with Beachbody is that we never have to do that. And I love that, because I don't want to be harsh. I don't want to ever tell somebody hey, you can't be in our tribe, or you can't be a part of our team. But on the other hand, we have to remember that people and that's why I think you guys too, the challenge packs are so important. I remember when I first started coaching, I was well, maybe if somebody doesn't want to pay for the stuff, they can just go on runs, and we can hold them accountable for their runs, and then they don't have to spend money. And I was all weird about, that we were selling things. And then I was you know what though, that gives them at least a little bit of skin in the game, right? They paid for this. And if somebody's going to choose to pay $160 and then not show up, and you're doing everything, it's so different. If you were oh, I signed them up and then I didn't talk to them and I never sent them an invite to the group and whatever, that's different. But you obviously showed up for them, and you went above and beyond, in my opinion, by showing them the apps and stuff. So yeah, just like Kinsley said, I think, you know, it's not anything against you. And it is, like Kinsley said too, in a way it is a numbers thing, only because like you have a very small sample size, right? You have 5 people and three of them didn't do what you wanted them to do. So it might feel like, oh my gosh, that's over 50% of my people. But like if you had signed up, you know, 20, 15 people wouldn't have done this. It still would have been the same 3. You know what I mean? So, so I wouldn't overthink it too much. And I think just remembering that like we're always trying to find like the people who are ready and the people who are willing to do the hard work, which it is hard work to change your life, like on the fitness side and, you know, the business side of this too. All of it is like you have to be strong mentally, which is why personal development is so big with what we do too, because you have to really learn how to overcome like our inner excuses and demons, right? Which I think we all, like I've learned. So I just did a post yesterday about like I didn't work out for 10 days because I was so sick with the flu. And in the past, that would have meant like I would have not gone to the gym for like 3 months. Like it would have turned into 3 months because I would have built it up to this whole thing and I just wouldn't have gone back because I would have to blow my nose and stuff. And I don't want to do that at the gym and like, you know, whatever, like it would just be this thing. And it's weird how like you grow through these challenge groups too. Like the longer you guys do this, it just amazes me like how much personally you guys can see so much growth. And not just you, I just mean like all of us. Like I can't imagine in like doubling my time. I'm like in 2.5 more years when I've been doing this for 5 years. I'm so excited because I'm like I'll be so like mentally strong, like it won't matter. I don't know, you know.
And now I feel like too.
What the heck happened? Oh no.
Can you hear me, Elisa? No. Oh, I was just gonna say, Janelle, too. Like again, I can see you showing up, like on your social media and like continuing to share your journey. Like that is so important. So like keep doing that, and also just keep in mind that there are certain like seasons, like physical seasons where people are less likely to show up, like winter, and seasons in your business too, where like it hits me sometimes too, where like I'll be, you know, going good. And then all of a sudden I have like 5 coaches that quit out of nowhere, like the same day. That happened to me once. And I was like, what did I do? Like, did I like post something and like 5 people read it and were like, okay, I quit. Like, but it's just a coincidence. And like the longer you do it, the more that you see that. And like me and Elise talk about it all the time. Like there are just random days where like more people quit. So unfortunately that probably just happened to you early on. And like 3 people decided to, but it has nothing to do with you, you know? So keep going. You're doing great. Who else wants to share? Marlena. I don't know how to unmute you. Ask me, Lisa.
Okay, did I do it?
Yes.
All right, everybody give me a cool hand gesture.
Woo!
Thank you. What's up? Oh, okay. So I guess I wrote some stuff down because I'm tired. I think for me, what Kinsley and Jessica or Janelle were just saying about like, and I don't know, all 3 of you, like it's hard to change your life. And I think last year I really was able to do that with workouts and like being active for myself and everything. And like now that is the habit that I have and I don't have to think about it anymore. And this new year, it's gonna be all about like nutrition and the business stuff. Because that's like, I was trying to do it all at once. And I think I've realized like for me, I can't totally do that. And with some things I have to make like smaller changes, commit to it for a little bit, evaluate, and then be like, okay, like let's add something else. Like with the shakes, like I was just like, I'm just gonna have the shake. I have always hated shakes. And now it's fine, and now I add spinach. So it's stuff like that. And I think I found that like the past week or 2 with like my business stuff, and I've been structuring my mornings, and that has been like crazy town, and I can't do the rest of the day yet, and that is fine. But if I get in like a power 30 or a power hour in the morning, good. Like, let's keep that consistency. And I've been sharing a lot more of my acting stuff, and I think that's been really important for me too, because I think my people are in there, and I didn't like realize that for a while, and I've been enjoying sharing more of that stuff and how that connects, because this is just like, it's just changing your life. Like, this is all stuff in my life. I don't want it to be separate, like how some people like make the separate profiles, and I was never like wanting to do that. But I guess back to topic. I went Emerald, and then I lost it. One of my coaches is just a customer now. But I think like Janelle, like I've signed up 5 people, and 3 of them signed up just as customers, and like one of them I think canceled her account, but like I'm not sure, because she still like responds to my posts and everything, and I've sent her a ton of messages about like, hey, do you still need help with this, like, and she just hasn't responded. But then I have my boyfriend who is definitely staying a coach. So that's awesome. But I think, yeah, that's what's been going on. That's what I wrote down.
That's awesome. I feel like, honestly, what you just said about setting little goals and just tweaking little things in your schedule, such as like your morning routine, like that's so huge. And that's going to give you those little deposits in your confidence bucket of like little wins to accomplish, instead of saying, like, again, a lot of us you guys have the goal of diamond next. And it's like, that's awesome. And that is what you are working towards, but you shouldn't just be sitting there being like, I'm going to be diamond. Like, you have to focus on the little things, and the little things are found in your morning routine and your pockets of time and your power hours or your power 15s or whatever you have. But that's what's going to make the biggest difference. And I also think it's so important too, what you said about like finding your niche market, and like realizing that a lot of your niche market is theater, and it's people that you're talking to in real life. I think sometimes we get caught up in the fact that our business is online, and we think that we have to only talk to people on Instagram and Facebook, when it's like, no, make sure that you're talking about this to people in real life, because that's not only going to make you so much more confident when you're talking about it, the more that you talk about it, but it's also going to make people realize that you're really showing up and that this is really important to you. So it's going to help your circle get on board as well when they see you actually, like, because your friends, they see you on social media too. So if you're one way on social media and then you don't even talk about Beachbody or your health and fitness or what you're doing when you're with them in real life, they're going to think that it's fake, or that it's not like truly what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is just like part of who you are. So I feel like that's really awesome. And those are like great realizations and things that you came to. So I'm really excited for you. And I know that you're going to get Emerald back like super soon.
I have like 10, I swear there are like 10 of like mostly my theater friends who are like, I'm going to do it. I just need to save the money. And I'm like, girl. But it's okay. Like, I have one friend who she's like, I'm gonna do T20, and I want her to do it so much, and she wants to do it so much. I'm like, you just need to like do this, because she's gonna kill it, and I'm so ready.
Yeah, I would honestly too. Like, I would there's definitely like an urgency factor. I think for a lot of people, they're like, I want to do this, but I have to wait, or like whatever. If we give them that urgency of saying like, I want you to do this so bad, like you're gonna love it, blah blah blah. But we have to get you set up by Sunday so that you get everything in time. Like, kind of, I would almost like message them today, because today's Saturday, tomorrow's Saturday. Yeah. Like, hey girls, we need to get you set up by tomorrow though, so that you get everything in time, so that, and kind of just like bring that urgency factor in, because I think that helps people make decisions faster, because they no longer have the excuse of like, I'm going to wait until 2 weeks from now, because then it's like in their mind, they're like, then I can't do it because it will have already started, And
I have another like tiny question. Can we add people to the T20 group like continuously, or are we closing that one?
I think Elisa and we're planning on.
You can, so I think at any point you can add people. Here's my hang up with it is I find that it's a little bit harder to help people get started on their journey if they miss the prep stuff. You know, when we put posts in there about like meal planning and stuff like that. But what's really cool, you guys, is we have such a large team, and we've gotten away from a little bit, like everyone's kind of adding people to Kinsley and I's group, which is totally fine, and we're fine doing that. But what's crazy is, honestly, it's a little bit easier as a coach if you have a smaller group, and for your people, it's actually, I personally think, ideally 6 to like 15 people is like a perfect group size. So like if you have somebody, so say a couple of you, like basically if you have somebody that you're like, okay, she can't start because she's waiting for a paycheck or whatever, and she wants to start Transform 20 on like the 28th or something like that, post it in the Brave Builders page and be like, hey, I have at least one girl who wants to do it on the 28th. Does anybody want to partner with me and run a group starting on the 28th? And what's cool is then any of us who have people that want to start on that day, then we have another day that we can invite to, right? And we can partner together. We can use the exact same content, and we can show you guys, like I remember before I did my first group myself, which my first group had 6 people in it. I remember before I did my first group, I was really nervous, and it just seemed like a ton of work. You guys, it's really not that much work at all to run a group. It's so easy because you're scheduling everything in advance. Once you've scheduled your first group, it actually creates a post library where you basically click 2 things. Like it's like click to reschedule the post for the next group. And like, it's just really simple. And so because too, we have the content and images, you can use ours, or you can come up with your own, which is actually really fun. If you like being creative. But that's another thing that I suggest, just because you can technically add new people to the group. But I find especially if they're new to Beachbody, if they've been around this environment for a long time, and I have like an old client who like decides mid-group they want in, I might throw them in. But if they're new to it, it can be a little overwhelming to just add them on day, 10 or something. So that's another thought. But I know that there's always people that would be willing to help with that. Apparently I need to feed her again.
I think that there will probably be quite a few people on the team who want to start a Transform 20 specific group in like February or something like that too. So even just thinking like now it's January 5th only, but it's like you could easily, like it's your business, so you can decide whenever you want to like start a group or anything and like start inviting to that. But I even have it in my mind that like something will be going on in February that I'm gonna start inviting to, I don't know, like basically always be inviting to something, but you don't have to necessarily decide where you're putting them until they get set up too.
Yeah, I think that was the question. You just said it, like, what am I inviting them to? So I was like, okay, after Sunday, like, what do I send this invite for?
I would still just be inviting to Transform 20 and just you'll be able to either create a group of your own, you'll be able to partner with someone, like we're going to be running something in February too.
Yeah, and when I send invites, I don't specify like what group, like people don't know what group they're in until they've signed up, and I send them a confirmation email that says like, hey, your group starts on this day. So don't get, like when I first started coaching, I didn't do that, and I would be like, hey, I'm starting a group on this day, and I would like give them the day, but I realized that just gives people an out, and it just gives them a reason to say, like then people would be like, no, I actually have a wedding a week after that, so I can't because I'm going to eat dinner there. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. Like you can still do the group and eat dinner at the wedding. Like, don't worry about it. But like, I think that, yeah, like Kinsley said, you can always always be inviting. That's I think the biggest thing about like doing vitals, right? Is that you want to be sending invites every day. And if for you, that only means 2 or 5 invites a day, that's fine. There's, coaches, there's a coach that I've become really good friends with in my mastermind who actually started coaching a year ago. She decided right out the gate that she wanted to be an elite coach. She wanted to be in the top. She's like ranked number 20 in the business. After 1 year, but you guys, she sent 50 invites a day without fail. 50 a day. I know, insane. She was a full-time teacher. She's now not because she doesn't have to be. But like, how crazy. But like also, like if she can do it, any of us can do it. Like, and if you looked her up online, you guys would see too, like her personality. She's, a human being. So, but she's really sweet, but she's a human being and she's just excited about what we're doing. And that, I really think the excitement factor, you guys, is so much of what gets people excited too, right? Because if you tell somebody about this and you're not super excited about it, it might be a little bit harder to have people want to join you, and which makes sense, right? Just like if you invited somebody out to get tacos and you're like, hey, I know this taco place, and it's like, okay, they're not that great, but do you want a taco? Like they'd probably be like, I don't really know if I want a taco. But if you're like pumped about it, which should be the only reason you would invite somebody to get tacos with you, is if you found tacos that you were obsessed with, then they will go get tacos with you, I think. I don't know how I start talking about tacos, but it's a thing.
Does anyone else, I know we don't have a whole lot of time before we're going to start the sip and sweat, but Olivia or Casey or Stephanie or Melissa, I'm trying to see the other faces. Does anyone else, Natalie, want to share kind of where you're at and your goals or anything? Natalie. You might have to unmute yourself. There you go.
All right, is it off? Okay. All right, so I'm trying to think. Right now, I currently have 4 coaches, I think. But one is my boyfriend and one is my dad. 2 are friends from college. One is like a girl that I'm like really good friends with. She's one of my best friends, so she more so did it just to support me. And the other girl was in my sorority with me, and she purely did it for the discount. She has no interest in like actually working the business. But I'm trying to think, like I've been struggling just with a lot of stuff probably, but I've recently tried to make myself like really organized. I'm a substitute teacher, so most days when I'm picking up sub jobs, I can kind of just like screw around on my phone or my laptop or do whatever I want to do like throughout the day. I also have 2 other jobs though, so like I have very little downtime. So I have like very small pockets of time that I try to get stuff done in. And then these first couple weeks of January, for example, like I'm actually teaching because I'm in a long-term sub position. So I have like no time like during the day except for at like 4:30 a.m. when I wake up. So I've just been trying to get more organized recently. I'm using Streak, just like really trying to focus on tracking. I joined Beachbody with another team back in like the end of July and knew like nothing. Like I knew nothing about what I was doing. I had 0 support. So I've literally been inviting people for like months and months and months, and I only started tracking last month. So because I had no idea that that was something I should be doing. So now I'm doing that. And I'm getting a lot more people interested. I'm being more conversational with my invites than just like, hey, there's this thing I really want you to do with me. And like trying to get to know people. And at first I just thought like, oh, I should invite anyone and everyone. But I've been really picky with who I invite. Like especially like Elisa, I watched your like how to use Captivate. And like that's what I try to do when I'm going through Captivate following people. I'm like, okay, like I creep on somebody for a little bit first. I'm like, did they look like they'd be somebody that I could get along with and like would mesh with my vibe or the team's vibe? Like I'm being very picky about the people that I invite and the people that I am like using as leads, so to speak. And I'm just trying to show up more, do more live videos, give more like free content, like tips and tricks and stuff on my posts. But I mean, I do have big goals for myself. Again, I am a substitute teacher. I have like 3 other jobs. And I would love to be able to not have 4 jobs, 3 jobs. I would love to have like 1 job. And I mean, for me, it's really important because like my mom was a stay-at-home mom for us. And that was like huge for me in my childhood, especially with like family problems that would come up. Like it was amazing to always have my mom there. And I know that's like a goal for me is like at some point, somewhere down the road, whenever I have a family, I would love to be able to just build a business in my house and be with my kids all the time. And I see so many people do that on the team. And I think it's like incredible. And that's basically what I'm working for long term. So just trying to push as hard as I can right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that goal is amazing. It like gives me chills thinking about it. I would say for your struggles of like, it sounds like you have the organization down in the sense that like you're just still getting used to it and whatnot because you just started that a month ago. But for scheduling and stuff, since this is a super busy time for you, I would just make sure that you're setting like small pockets, not like an hour long. Because I know when I was teaching full time, when I first started my business, I was teaching full time and I was tutoring after school and I was coaching soccer after school. So it was like same thing. I had 3 jobs. I was super busy. So that's why when Elisa originally asked me, I was like, no, I have 0 time to try to run a business. But I became so passionate about it that I was willing to cut out other little things like TV at night and things like that. But just setting like 15-minute power pockets if you can, Natalie, like even maybe during lunch, and having a clear idea of what you're doing in that 15 minutes. Not just saying, you know, I'm going to sit down for 15 minutes and work my business, because what does that actually mean? That ends up like getting on Facebook and being like, there's a ton of team notifications and Brave Builders, and oh, now my 15 minutes is up and I didn't do anything business building, you know? Have a clear intention of like what you want to do in that time. Like maybe it's 15 minutes writing your post or posting your post, you know, 15 minutes of following up with people, just following up with people, like ignoring the rest of your inbox, you know, 15 minutes of responding to messages, 15 minutes of inviting. Like that's how I, even now, like doing this full time, I still break up my tasks that way because it seems way less daunting and I get way more done than if I'm like, I'm going to sit down and work my business for 2 hours. Like that doesn't actually work for me because I'm so scatterbrained if I just like leave it up to that and I'm like, oh, and Elisa wanted to chat about this and blah, 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 and then I'm like, I'm crazy. So that's my advice for you, and I sound like a crazy person. But yeah, just keep it up, and you're doing amazing too. And honestly, I think for you too, it's just one of the things of like continuing to show up consistently and continuing to do all the vitals that you're already doing, but even during this busy season, because that's the most important. Like that's when people become the most inspired, isn't when they see you like on summer vacation working your business when it's easy. It's like people are inspired when it's hard and you're still showing up. That's why like when we see Brittany Crosby, who's in the hospital right now, like still showing up in the team calls, and like when you see her like during recovery still showing up in her workouts, that's why it's so inspirational to us, right? It's because she has every excuse in the book to not show up and still she shows up, you know?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, that's so good. And yeah, if you guys didn't get to check out my Captivate video that Natalie just referenced, I tried to lay it out for you guys really clear how I use Captivate, and that's actually how my friend Kate, the one I was telling you about that was sending 50 invites today, that's how she built her business and social media exclusively. So she had like 400 followers on Twitter, on Instagram, like a year ago, and now she's at 13,000 or something like that. But it's through very Captivate is a vital for me now every week. And like I said in the video, Monday through Wednesday I'm following people, Saturday, Sunday I'm unfollowing people, and I do it every single week, even if like there's nights when I'm going to bed at 10:30 and I'm like so tired, and like Jay, I'll be like, babe, give me 10 minutes. I have to find a list to follow. And I like make myself do it because again, it's my business, right? So one thing I was going to say is I think it's really good that you're looking for your people. But one thing I think that is awesome about Captivate, where it is definitely important to make sure you're not following like a random list of people, because you'll end up following like a bunch of dudes from India or something. Like make sure that you're following the right types, but don't get too caught up in clicking on every profile and looking through each one. There's my husband just walked by the window outside. Okay, but make sure that you're not clicking on everyone, because that'll take a lot of time. So what I started doing is thinking of it as like, what's really cool is we are so forward, and as long as your account's public, right? They know if they go to your Instagram account, they know who you are, right? Especially if you're doing a few stories a day, like they know who you are. And even if you're not doing stories, from your posts, they know who you are. So I almost treat it as like, I'm making them do the work, right? Like if I'm following, so like I follow anyone, and I know it's hard because you have a tiny little picture, right? That's all you're judging off of. But I also look at the name. And so like most of the time, any accounts that look like a brand, or that, you know, I don't know, just like I'll try to look and see, or anybody that has a guy's name, obviously I'll not do, but however that looks. And then I just always figure, I'm like, you know what? Out of these 1,000 people, the 100 people that follow me back, those are my tribe, because they've looked at my my stuff and decided that they like me or whatever. And then what's cool is when you get to the point of inviting, you can look at, you know, recent likes or recent even followers and just messaging them and saying like, hey, thanks for following me. And at that point is a really good time to click on their profile, really look at it. And then if you look at it for 15, 20 seconds, you're like, dude, this girl looks like we could be friends. And then, you know, give them the opportunity to say yes or no. I don't know. I think, so I think it's really, really smart what you're doing. I just want to make sure that, that's not becoming all of your work, because that could very easily take up your entire, like I could spend my whole day, and I do this full time. I could spend like 8 hours a day just looking at people's accounts to see if they, you know, were my people. And I used to have to spend so much time doing that. And that's why Captivate has been such a blessing. Because back in the day, you guys, the old school way, like it was crazy how much time it took. And it really did take a lot of time. So I used to get a lot less sleep. But anyway, so, okay, yeah, we need to wrap up. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. And of course, if you have any other questions, you can always post them in the builders page, you guys. It's such a good spot because there's so many people that often have the same question. So if you have a goal or a question or anything that comes up, there's, you know, never a stupid question. And, you know, we're all, the only difference between anybody that you see on this team that seems successful is that they've just been doing it and failing at it longer than you have been. So that's what I mean, literally the case. But hopefully you guys will join us on the Sip and Sweat. Basically, we're just gonna hop on at 9 o'clock, chug our Energized, and talk about just like whatever. I don't even know what we're like. It's just life. It's not gonna be like business talk. And then we're gonna do our workouts, because everybody needs extra motivation to do a workout on a Saturday, especially when you have children being psycho. Okay, so we will see you guys hopefully in like 10 minutes.
Wait, can we take a quick photo?
Oh, yeah, take a picture.
It's like, wait, I haven't snapped one yet.
Sure, we'll be upside down in it. Tell me when you're ready, because she'll smile if I flip her. And then will you tag us all? So that
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have a blurry camera.
Ready? You're going upside down.
Yes. Okay. Smile.
Ready?
Whatever you want.
Okay, that just looks scary, but did it work?
Yeah, she's not upside down, but it's good.
Okay.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'll tag you guys. All right, see you soon.
Bye guys.
Bye.